Hi, everyone. My name is Carlos Figueiredo, and I'll be introducing myself very soon here. But for now, I want to say that we are Two Hat, and we are now a part of Microsoft, and we are here to talk to you about how we create safe, healthy, and welcoming gaming experience for our customers. To get us started, I would like to introduce you to Chris Prieb, who is our founder, and we'll talk about our why and why he embarked on this journey.
Oh, thanks, Carlos. We believe that everyone should be free to share without harassment or abuse. Wouldn't that be a great internet? Wouldn't that be great where people were encouraged to stay instead of encouraged to leave? I imagine a time when my kids can put on a headset, play their favorite game with their friends, and not have to worry about being excluded or harassed or abused just because she's a girl, or because he's only 12 years old, or because he's 12 years old, he's being really annoying, and we can deal with that as well. But we don't have to clean everything. People have resilience, but we do have to deal with some very significant issues. And over the last 10 years, we've seen a shift away from just looking for four-letter words to dealing with really important issues that are causing our games to have people leave them. And not just leave them a little bit, but leave them out of great pain and not wanting to play anymore and even be hurt and injured. We've seen things like the Me Too movement where we've realized how important it is to deal with sexual harassment. We've seen the Black Lives Matter movement and realized that we need to take care of racism, and no form of racism is going to be okay. That's not a place for people to be discriminated against, excluded, hated upon, and abused just because of the color of their skin. And we're talking about serious issues. And I'm excited to have the team now present to you what is now possible that you can do to make incredible communities. And so let's build an internet where people are free to share without fear. I'm going to hand it back to Carlos now.
Thank you very much, Chris. As I said before, my name is Carlos Figueiredo, and I am a senior trust and safety evangelist here at Two Hat Microsoft. You heard from our founder, Chris, about our cause and belief. So what else are we going to cover today? We'll talk about community health, wellness, and safety, and what it takes to get there. I'll also give you a Community Sift demo to show all that in action, and we'll talk about outcomes at the end as well. But first, let's get started here with the value of communities. We know that communities make gaming experiences and platforms awesome. It's what really differentiates one game from the other. You just can't replicate how vibrant and awesome your community is. And we know that that's what drives value for brands and for companies. It really adds a lot of value to not only the product itself, but the services that you're providing in those games. So it's very important that we start there with that understanding that community is really everything, especially nowadays. With that in mind, it's really critical that we understand this space and what it takes to build healthy, welcoming, inclusive gaming spaces. When we think about the space of health, wellness, and safety, it's a very multi-layered problem, if you will. There are many different elements here. Our customers come to us because they want to make sure that all experiences in their games are truly healthy, be it through the creation of a username, maybe an avatar picture, or live chat. All those things really need to be well thought out. The way that we drive those outcomes for our customer is really looking at a five layer framework, what we call the 5 layers of community protection. We know that different problems need different tools and approaches in order for us to really tackle and drive those outcomes. Today, we'll focus on one of the layers, which is the second layer of classifying and filtering. A lot of solutions out there really focus very heavily in machine learning, artificial intelligence, and we understand that that's an important tool. But what really makes Two Hat unique is the fact that we bring the other side of the equation here, which is the humanities. So not only do we bring the technology understanding to be able to scale, to be able to meet precision requirements and context, we also bring all the human nuances, the cultural nuances, the empathy that is so critical in this space. All right, Now I would like to introduce you to our awesome team who are experts at what they do and can really tell you about how we go about driving those health, wellness, and safety outcomes for our customers. And to get us started in this section here, I would like to introduce you to Lawrence Brockman, who is our head of engineering, and he will be able to tell us a little bit more about our technology stack and how we solve some of those tech problems. Welcome, Lawrence.
Thanks, Carlos.
So Lawrence, one of the questions we get from our customers is about scale. We are helping customers who truly have millions of players. We're talking about communities that are bigger than countries, literally, right? So could you tell us about how we meet those scale challenges and needs, especially when it comes to latency and all that fun stuff?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Carlos, again. So Community Sift, first and foremost, is built for real-time chat. We process over 1 trillion messages each year, over 100 billion each month, and we do that extremely quickly. Our internal latency system, we measure about 20 milliseconds for each of our transactions internally. When we factor in network communication, we're typically sitting under 200 milliseconds, well within the range for real-time chat. And we do this reliably. Our base SLA is 99.9%, and right now we're exceeding 99.99% across all of our data centers and services. So we do this at scale every single day, 24 by 7 by 365 for gaming companies across the world.
I always get pretty surprised by the numbers. It never ceases to amaze me, Lawrence. Another question that is very often heard from our customers because they deeply care about privacy and security, and so do we. Could you tell us a little bit about that too?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks again. And that's really near and dear to our heart. So data privacy, data security are two really important topics for Two Hat. We're dealing with a tremendous amount of really important data for all of our customers. Our data is encrypted at rest, it's encrypted in transit, and we have various different features in our product to really put our customers in control about how the data is stored and processed. For example, within our Community Sift product, we have a privacy level setting which controls redaction of PII and other information that is in the hands of our customers. So we do take this seriously. We treat it as one of our top priorities. Security is built into our product by design. And so this is just a fact of life for us with operating at this level of scale with the importance of our customers and the importance of the data. All right, with that, I'm going to turn it over to Lisa, our head of data.
Thanks, Lawrence. So what happens in games happens quickly. That includes how we write and chat. So slang, pop culture, current events, it's all constantly changing. And we know that this chat can sometimes be spicy. That's how we like to refer to it here. It's not all the chat. As you can see in this chart, it's only about 3% of what we call high risk chat. And the worst of the worst is less than 1%, actually 0.02%. But what goes on in that small percentage is what has the most impact on the health of your community because it is the worst of the worst. By combining AI with our language and culture team, it allows Community Sift to be updated quickly as these new trends emerge. So instead of waiting for long AI cycles for learning and retraining and deploying, we're able to do these updates very quickly as they happen. So on that note, I'd like to introduce you to Danny, who is one of our managers of our language and culture team, who will share with you how his team does that.
Thanks, Lisa. Hi, everyone. As we know, pop culture has the power to change the meaning of language. That's why at Two Hat we treat this as an essential part of language development. Our team of language specialists who are native speakers work on curating our dictionaries every day, adjusting classifications in real time to prevent threats to your community. Allow me to share with you a few examples of how we keep up with global events, trends, and pop culture. Earlier this year, there was a case reported in Spanish news of a teenager who tragically committed suicide after experiencing bullying online. Our specialist analyzed the brief and the letter shared to look for patterns that we could add to our system. Self-harm and suicide aside, it's also important that we make a differentiation between these ones and the ones that could be used in gaming lingo, for example. Another example is the investigation done by our Korean specialists into the slang terms used for a particular drug that is getting a lot of popularity in social media spaces that are pro-anorexia. We want to ensure we're able to identify and surface these discussions when they take place in your community. Language is continuously evolving, and safety and expressivity have always been core to our language development. Now I'll hand it back to Carlos for a short demo of Community Sift.
All right, I have a little demo of Community Sift prepared for you, and it's really for us to look at this in action and how we handle context in chat. As you heard from Lisa, we look at chat at an octal scale, so between 0 and 7, 0 being the lowest risk and 7 being the worst of the worst. When you heard from Lisa that the really bad stuff only makes up for about 0.2%, we're talking about a really high risk content here. But what we see is that most content in online experiences in general, but certainly for games and platforms, are classified in our system as risk 3 and below. So very normative type of phrases and conversations that are expected in the game and actually encouraged, right? So let's look at context a little bit more deeply. If somebody says, well, F this in the game of one of our customers, typically our customers are okay with it, right? Or they might say F yeah, right? An expression of excitement. But what happens if somebody uses that same F word to actually cause harm to somebody else, right? Let's take a look at something that's really critical to what we do at Twohead. As you can see here, I went above and beyond in terms of trying to do a filter subversion and trick the system, trick Community Sift. So I use the letter U and the letter R instead of spelling out UR. I also use leet speak, right? The number 4 here instead of a letter. Then the word king to try to mask the F word. And I went a step ahead there and put the word idiot upside down. So as you can see now, it's not just about perhaps an exclamation of excitement, right? We have other topics that are being identified here. This topic, bullying, being one of 19 topics that we identify across the spectrum of all types of online harms. Vulgarity is there as well because of the F word and that subversive behavior that I was talking about. So all of those are signals that our customers use to drive contextual expression in the community, right? And what do I mean by that? What is appropriate for a community that's under 13? It's very different from a community that's over 13. And our customers are empowered to really tailor those communities to ensure maximum expression while allowing for safety as well. You might be asking, what is light bully word, right? Because that's a bit quirky there. Let me tell you a little story. Back in 2015, I was working with the team, with our engineering team and also our language team. And we were talking about how do we make this really scalable, right? Because it's just an endless arms race to try to add the newest slang, the newest variation of a swear word. Let's take this example here. Full name is being a light bully word. I'll pick on myself, okay? So if I say Carlos Figueiredo, it will hit on full name, first name plus last name, is being an idiot. It's going to trigger that rule. It will tell us that there's PII involved because of the full name, but there is also a certain degree of bullying and harassment, right? This one rule can capture endless permutations, right? Endless variations. You could say Mary Smith is being blank, add a word here. Imagine how many first and last names exist and how many words that, given the right context, they will behave as the word idiot, as a word that is considered a light form of bullying. So now that we have looked at that, I want to show you how our customers take all this text classification and drive an operational model to actually proactively filter and drive other outcomes in their communities. Let's look at what we call policy guides. We have customers who have multiple games. Some of their games are family friendly. Others are for teenagers and general audience. Others are for mature audiences. All those have different needs, right? They also have different needs as in public chat versus private chat. They might want to be more conservative in the public chat because there are a lot of strangers there, people in the lobby of the game. The private chat, they can be a little bit more lax perhaps and allow for more expression. Today, we'll take a look at teen and general as general audience type of settings. You can see that we're drawing the line here on a risk 5 in this hypothetical policy guide that we call. And policy guide essentially is a way to translate your community guidelines, your community values, your code of conduct. Our customers can effectively take this and automatically filter anything that's a risk 6 or 7, the worst of the worst, right? They could filter things like perhaps that phrase that you saw there that wasn't very kind, the one with the idiot upside down, right? They can do that per topic. They can say that anything that's above a risk 3 will be filtered on the topic of bullying. You heard from Danny when Danny was talking about suicide and self-harm. That's one thing, but if we're talking about violence in a first shooter game, that's when you were talking about, well, that's part of the conversation, right? Violence is part of the game, therefore you can open up that topic but restrict others. So really the key here is that we allow for that flexibility to drive exactly the experiences that you want to see in a very automated, empowering way. So your team is left with more time to engage with the community and not spend so much time on manual tasks. And that's it for our demo today. Now that we have seen the tool in action and we have seen what it takes really to drive those outcomes for our customers, I would like to talk to you about outcomes. What are the results that our customers see in this space, and specifically talking about gaming here? If you go back to our presentation today, I was talking about really the value of communities, right? And obviously beyond the value, the human value of those vibrant communities, there's a business value as well that we need to talk about. And one of those is the increase in retention. We know from surveys that have been done in the past 3 years by the Anti-Defamation League, one of the very important insights that they have learned there was that up now in the last year, up to 28% of players have been quitting games, free-to-play games, because of harassment, right? So if you have a solution like Community Sift in place, you are potentially increasing your retention up to 28% or even more depending on the community. That's really critical. We know how hard it is to acquire new players and how hard it is to gain their trust and keep them in our communities, right? There is also an increase of revenue, of course, because the longer that people are spending in our games and having a healthy, an awesome experience, the longer they're going to bring their friends. They're going to also be able to interact and engage and spend money in the game in the regular course of the business. That's what is very important as well, right? In addition to that, when we're talking about costs, it's really critical that we are reducing costs. One example is one of our customers reduced their cost by 88% in moderation workload, meaning that after implementing Community Sift, they had 88% less manual tasks to be done by their moderators. That's really, really critical. But not only that, we also know that there's a cost to engineering, right? I've talked to many chief technology officers in my last 7 years here at Two Hat, and a lot of them told me, Carlos, I could either develop a system like the one Two Hat has, or I could focus my engineering time on my game or my platform. So when you're saving perhaps 1, 2, 3 engineers, instead of having them building moderation tools, actually making your game and platform awesome. That is really, really the key, right? All right, to wrap everything up for us today, I would like to introduce Melissa Lorkey, who is our head of customer experience.
Thanks, Carlos. Microsoft, Xbox, and Two Hat care deeply about your communities and helping you create great experience for your players. We are committed to making online worlds a safer, healthier, more inclusive and engaging environment for everyone, delivering to those critical outcomes of high player engagement and retention that Carlos just spoke to you about. When you choose Two Hat, not only are you getting an incredible technology, but you're also joining a vibrant collective of community builders who are collaborating across industries to make the world a better place. Our industry-leading best practices were developed in collaboration with our incredible customers. As part of our Two Hat community, you'll have access to product adoption insights from both our customer success team and your fellow community builders. We are so grateful for the opportunity to speak with you today about the amazing work being done in this space, and we can't wait to welcome you to our Two Hat community.